Thank you. Thank you. Lieutenant Governor Roden, Mr. Speaker, our Supreme Court justices, constitutional officers, and members of the House and the Senate, and my fellow South Dakotans. I want to thank you all for being here today as I deliver our 100th State of the State address during our 100th legislative session. As we come into this body today, I want to ask if you will honor our National Guard soldiers who serve our country so faithfully and all of our veterans. Would our National Guard and our veterans please stand and be recognized for your service to this country and our state? Welcome to the 100th session of the South Dakota State Legislature. Over these 100 sessions, we have made history here in South Dakota. The things that have taken place in this building have changed our state forever. And today, I want to share a story with all of you that inspires me. A story about a South Dakota trailblazer named Gladys Pyle. Now, Gladys was born in Huron in 1890. Her mother, Mamie, secured the right to vote for South Dakota women. And her father, John, was the 4th Attorney General of South Dakota. But Gladys, she would outshine them both. She became the first female Secretary of State in South Dakota in 1927, and then the first Republican woman elected to the U.S. Senate in 1938. But did you know that Gladys Pyle was almost the first female governor of South Dakota? In fact, she won the primary with 28% of the vote. But she did not clear the 35% threshold that was needed to win the nomination, so the vote went to the GOP convention, where, after 12 rounds of voting, a different candidate was chosen to go to the general election ballot. Now, 88 years later, I became the first female governor of the state of South Dakota to hold this office. But Gladys's story reminds me sometimes that obstacles that people face sometimes prepare them for greatness. America has been through a very difficult time, and now we stand on the cusp of a great American comeback. In just 6 days, a leader will take office in Washington who will truly make our nation great again. South Dakota has had its own share of difficulty in the past years, but these challenges have been opportunities that have put us in a position to succeed, and we have thrived. Today, South Dakotans have prosperity and they have hope. Our people enjoy a greater level of freedom than anywhere else. We have made our state safer, stronger, and freer for our kids and for our grandkids. We built a stronger South Dakota than we ever have had before. Thank you. Now, we're just getting started. When I was elected governor, I knew that our best days were still ahead of us, and I still believe that today. Because we have focused on freedom and not government control, we have unleashed something in our people. We've fostered the great American sense of hard work, grit, and determination, a spirit that is disappearing in far too many places in this country. South Dakota has created our very best days. And more importantly, we've created the opportunity for even better days ahead. And that's what I'd like to talk to all of you about today. Now, you might have learned about me over the years that I love top 10 lists. And you might even get kind of tired of hearing my top 10 lists. But I think they're a little bit more interesting. So today, I'm going to share with you the top 10 reasons why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation. The number 10 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is because of education. One of the very best ways that we can set our kids up for success is by giving them the best education possible. Now, we've raised the bar for education that our kids are going to get in the classrooms here in our state. We've supported our teachers to attract the very best and to retain the very best for our kids. We've provided additional opportunities for parents to help their kids succeed. And we know that reading is the foundation for educational success. We implemented the science of reading across South Dakota so that our kids can get excellent phonics-based reading educations. We revamped our social studies standards so that our kids will get the very best civics and history education. And we've launched the South Dakota Sturdy Initiative that's going to teach our students grit and mental resilience. Now, I believe this will be yet another example for the nation. And we eliminated hateful teachings like critical race theory that only seeks to divide our children. We recognized that after parents, the teachers are the most impactful in our children's education. So we made sure that we were taking care of them and that they were paid what they deserve. We launched a fantastic teacher apprenticeship program, and now teachers' aides can become fully certified teachers while still earning a paycheck to put food on the table for their kids. Education isn't a one-size-fits-all, and that's why we're expanding options for parents as well. We improved alternative education in South Dakota to give flexibility to parents who choose that path for their kids. We expanded the Parents in Education Tax Credit Scholarship. And this year, we're going to be working with Majority Leaders Odenbach and Melhoff to institute education savings accounts for South Dakota kids. Now, these education savings accounts will support all of our South Dakota students. We will provide families greater opportunities to choose the best fit for their children's education. We won't impact any of the funding that goes to our great public schools. These ESAs will be a testament of our ability to meet the unique needs of every single South Dakota family that participates. Now, the number 9 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is healthcare. Our state has been a leader in healthcare policy. We took a very unique approach to the COVID pandemic. We cared for our people while still respecting their freedoms. We created a first-in-the-nation initiative that put telehealth services into the backs of our ambulances across the state of South Dakota. And we guaranteed that South Dakotans will have transparency from our health insurance companies. We created regional mental health facilities across our state to get South Dakotans care closer to their homes. We're reforming healthcare to give South Dakotans more opportunities to work. Now, the Freedom Works Here campaign created and recruited opportunities for South Dakota nurses to come to our state because it was one of the greatest needs in our workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, the results have been absolutely incredible. Over the last 2 years, the number of nurses working in South Dakota has increased by at least 1,100 across all nursing classifications. These professionals are filling critical roles in hospitals and clinics all across the state, ensuring that every community has access to care. And we're advancing career opportunities for South Dakotans who use our state's Medicaid program. South Dakotans already have work requirements in place for many of our social welfare programs, such as temporary assistance for needy families and food stamps. For folks that are in these programs, the Department of Social Services provides South Dakota Career Link to help them find career training, interview skills, and career opportunities. Now, this past November, South Dakota voters passed Amendment F, which allows for future work requirements under Medicaid expansion. South Dakota Career Link will be available for all of these folks as well. And we're going to connect them with the training, the guidance, and the support that they need to find a stable and a meaningful career. This will make South Dakota even stronger and more prosperous for the next generation. Now, the number 8 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is agriculture. Ag is more than just our largest industry. It really is our way of life. When ag has a good year, our communities grow and they thrive. And when the opposite is true, our entire state faces challenges. I'm proud that we've preserved our ag operations, that we've opened up new markets for our commodities, we've strengthened biofuels production in this state, and we've protected South Dakota ag from interference by evil foreign governments like Communist China. We have put South Dakota in a position to be stronger than ever before. We need a robust, diverse food supply, and our family farms are one of the most critical parts of that. Our family farms and ranches have a special connection to the land that has been in families for generations. Now, today I'm announcing that we're starting a partnership that are going to keep farmers farming here in South Dakota. We have reached an agreement between the state of South Dakota, the South Dakota Ag Foundation, and First Dakota National Bank to transfer the Keep Farmers Farming program from First Dakota to the South Dakota Ag Foundation. Now, this partnership will work with farm and ranch families on estate and on transition planning. It helps our producers pass along their land and their legacy to our kids and to our grandkids. It's about not just transferring assets, but also experience and work ethic, morals and history to the next generation. My governor's Office of Economic Development will provide the South Dakota Ag Foundation with a one-year grant that will administer, market, and grow the program. And there will be no loss of service for those existing program participants. We have representatives here today from the South Dakota Ag Foundation. I'd like them to stand for me today. And would you all give them a round of applause for being willing to take on this work of keeping farmers farming here in South Dakota? Please give them a round of applause. The number 7 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is our outdoor opportunities. South Dakota has some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world. From our rolling prairies to the rugged Black Hills, our landscapes are a testament to God's creation. Now, we have worked hard in this state to conserve and to enhance these treasures. We're breaking records for outdoor opportunities, including our pheasant hunting. Our Nest Predator Bounty program has been incredibly successful. We've gotten our kids outdoors, we've passed on our outdoor heritage, and we've increased our bird population as well. Our Second Century Habitat program has taken marginal acres out of production and created havens for our wildlife. It had the added benefit of opening up more acres for public hunting. In 2024, South Dakota had a record-breaking 1.6 million acres of private land open for public hunting. We've had the most pheasant hunters in over 10 years, and hundreds of thousands of residents and non-residents enjoyed our pheasant season. We had nearly 8 million visitors to our state parks. We're expanding our Sioux Falls outdoor campus, and we completed the fantastic expansion at Palisades State Park. We broke the record for the highest attendance ever this year at my favorite event, the Governor's Buffalo Roundup in Custer State Park. Now we're building a new shooting sports complex near Rapid City that will open up later this year. It will be one of the very best firearms range complexes in the entire nation. It will offer a wide variety of options for firearms enthusiasts of all levels, from hunters to recreational shooters to law enforcement training. And we're conserving South Dakota's natural beauty, creating more opportunities to share it in the future. I am so glad that my grandbabies are going to get the chance to enjoy some of the beautiful outdoors that I enjoyed when I was growing up. And then, speaking of babies, that brings me to my number 6 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation, and it is our babies. South Dakota has the highest birth rate of any state in America. Our people are happy. They're having babies, and that is a hope for the future. Every baby brings boundless potential. Now, we are caring for South Dakota moms and babies both before birth and after. And last year, we talked about the first 1,000 days of a child's life, from conception to their 2nd birthday. These days are the most crucial to a child's development. In the last year, our Bright Start program supported more than 600 mothers and over 500 infants and toddlers. One mom that started the Bright Start as a teen is now a registered nurse in an emergency room. And she wrote to the Department of Health and said, "I talk about you and the Bright Start program all the time to new moms. I tell them the big impact you had on my life, and I'm forever grateful." This past November, the people of South Dakota endorsed the way that we are taking care of moms and babies. They voted to support life. And the Department of Health will continue emphasizing care for our next generation. If you have any questions about pregnancy, parenting, financial assistance, and adoption, life.sd.gov is a one-stop shop that will help you get all of the help that you need. And our commitment to moms and to babies and families ensures that our state's future is as bright and as hopeful as a newborn's eyes. Now, we all need to keep our families safe. So the number 5 reason why South Dakotans will continue to be an example to the nation is safety. I'm incredibly proud of the work that we have done over the past 6 years to make South Dakota safer. We supported and respected our law enforcement officers. And when much of the nation was attacking them and defunded them, we thanked them and respected them. We led the way in cybersecurity by banning TikTok for state government, and we enhanced the mission at Dakota State University. And we led the nation in prioritizing our border security when the Biden administration had failed to keep America safe. We made South Dakota the first state in America to offer a state-led tribal-specific law enforcement training. For the very first time, future tribal law enforcement officers were trained right here in Pierre. They didn't have to leave their families for months and go to New Mexico for their training. And this year, we are going to make this training a part of our ongoing budget so that we can help train tribal law enforcement officers far into the future. Today we have with us here 2 gentlemen that I would like to have them stand. We have Corson County Sheriff Alan Dale and Ziebach County, you guys gotta listen to me, sheriffs, stand up, no, stand up, that's great. Sheriff, we need Sheriff Gary Cudmore to stand as well. These 2 gentlemen were the sheriffs that represent counties that are on 2 of our South Dakota tribal lands. And they are the ones who helped me come up with the idea that started the Tribal Law Enforcement Training Academy. So would you please thank them for helping build partnerships to get more public safety to our tribes? Thank you. We've also kept South Dakotans safe through unprecedented natural disasters. My first year in office, South Dakota saw a historic bomb cyclone, and we saw other flooding events that year that had 63 of our 66 counties declared federal disaster areas. We've had tornadoes hit our small towns and even our largest city. We've had wildfires threaten the Black Hills. We've seen a derecho, blizzards, and even an unprecedented 1,000-year flood. Every time, South Dakotans work together to get through the very worst situations. As an example, over the past several years, we've improved our infrastructure. We built our levees stronger and higher. We invested in reinforcing and rebuilding dams to hold back these powerful rivers and bodies of water to the greatest extent possible. And we didn't see any major dam breaks, unlike our neighboring state. But we know that planning only goes so far in preparing for a 1,000-year unprecedented flood. And during the flood this year, several agencies stepped up to respond at my direction. The South Dakota Department of Public Safety sent Highway Patrol and an incident management assistant team. The Department of Game, Fish, and Parks deployed conservation officers to conduct boat rescues. The Department of Transportation handled traffic control and detours, and helped construct a levee across the interstate in just hours in accordance with the city's flood plan. The state geologist with the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources worked with local first responders to adjust to the river projections and water flows. And after the flooding, the Department of Social Services helped arrange counseling, and the Department of Health provided free tetanus shots. Even the Bureau of Information and Telecommunications set up a network in the Emergency Operations Center to support response efforts. I want to thank all of these emergency responders, the volunteers, the local governments, and the state employees whose quick and professional actions helped make these communities safe and secure and to prevent further damage. I want to honor a few of those individuals here today that went above and beyond the call of duty. First, I'd like to have Tim Kalman stand and be recognized. Tim is our South Dakota state geologist with the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. He lives and he saved lives with his water flow projections. Without Tim, we would not have had accurate projections on the rising rivers. The data that we were getting from the federal government and from the Federal River Forecast Center was too unreliable, and we couldn't depend on it. And it was Tim that gave us accurate projections to know when the crest was coming and when we would have the most water hitting us. Now, boat rescue crews with Sioux Falls Swiftwater Rescue and conservation officers with the Department of Game, Fish, and Parks acted heroically to save lives. Would you all stand as well? I want to highlight one story in particular. In rural Union County, one individual was trapped in a highway overpass. They were stuck without food, water, or a way to get out of the extreme heat. Our emergency management officials were trying to coordinate a helicopter rescue in the middle of the flood, and that would have been extremely dangerous because of the fast water flows, the debris, and other hazards. Suddenly, a local official walked into the Emergency Operations Center and exclaimed, "Well, scratch that plan. Some crazy GF&P guys launched their boat in a highway ditch and they were able to find a way to get out to them." Well, these are the crazy Game, Fish, and Parks guys. They risked their own safety and eliminated the need for a more dangerous aerial rescue. They used a drone to scout the possible route. They boated across cornfields with unknown hazards. They walked across a narrow berm to the overpass, and they rescued that South Dakotan. I appreciate their example, their leadership, and their heroism. Now, the Sioux Falls Swiftwater Rescue Team came at our request because of their special skill set. When the first member of the team arrived on the site, he was alone before his other team members got there, but he single-handedly assisted several people before the rest of the team arrived. In fact, when they all got there, he was taken for medical attention due to heat exhaustion. The other team members worked with Game, Fish, and Parks through the night to make sure that everyone was rescued. And after everyone was out, they slept for a few hours in the grass until morning. These individuals all went above and beyond throughout the crisis. They truly saved lives, and we cannot thank them enough for all that they accomplished. But here's what we can do. I would like to give the Governor's Award for Heroism to Tim Kalman, to those crazy GF&P guys, Sam Skelhaus, Jeremy Rowe, Christopher Shira, Taylor Etherington, and the 6 members of the Sioux Falls Swiftwater Rescue Team, Mike Murphy, Mike Olson, Adam Frick, Chris Lohan, Jack Clausen, and Rob Flannery. Please give them a round of applause and thank them for keeping us safe. Now, the number 4 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is our economy. We built the strongest economy of any state in America. Our 1.9 unemployment rate is the lowest in the nation today, and it has averaged as the lowest since I took office. We even broke the record for the lowest unemployment rate of any state in the history of America. Our incomes have consistently grown faster than any other state, and we have led the nation in new housing development. Our labor force participation rate is far above the national average, and we broke ground on a nearly $1 billion food processing facility with C.J. Schwann's. Last year, we won the Governor's Cup as the top state in America for economic development projects. Now, we're poised to do that well again this year, and it will be announced in a few weeks. Our GDP has grown consistently, and it's been the fastest growing GDP in the nation as well. Now, rising incomes mean that even during a historic inflation crisis, South Dakota families have been better able to keep food on the table for their families. New jobs mean that our kids don't have to leave our state to pursue their career or their dreams. And new homes mean that we're able to welcome more freedom-loving Americans to come and join us here in South Dakota. Our biggest challenge has been our workforce. And when I started the Freedom Works Here campaign in June of 2023, we had more than 25,000 open jobs in South Dakota. Today, that number is down by over 7,000 jobs, and we're filling some of the most important job needs like nurses, electricians, plumbers, and accountants. Our apprenticeship programs have completely changed how South Dakotans get educated for the future. Our teacher apprenticeship pathway is on track to turn out 150 new certified teachers in just the first 3 years. We have more than 1,500 apprenticeships in professions like electricians and plumbers, K-12 teachers, linemen, carpenters, sheet metal workers, fire medics, HVAC installers, ag mechanics, welders, and even more. Businesses across the state have welcomed apprenticeship opportunities with open arms. Now, speaking of arms, South Dakota's firearms manufacturing industry is thriving as well. We recently welcomed Paradigm Carbon to Yankton, South Dakota, and they manufacture carbon-wrapped gun stocks and barrels. Silencer Central in Sioux Falls is one of the fastest growing companies in America. And Coltac, who's here with us today, in Rapid City joined us from out of state, and they love our freedom. Our firearms industry supports 1,600 jobs in South Dakota, and it generates more than $400 million in annual economic activity. And we're aggressively recruiting other arms and ammo manufacturers to bring their business to the most Second Amendment-friendly state in America. And I want to show the diversity of our state's economy as well. I'm going to focus on another growing business in our state. I want to welcome today leaders from a business that is revolutionizing our largest industry, agriculture. Our economy cannot thrive unless ag thrives, and Bell Brands is doubling their production capacity. They will create additional markets for our ag products, and they'll help ensure that South Dakota's best economic days are ahead of us. Will you all please join me in welcoming the leadership of Bell Brands who are with us today? Would you please stand? We're excited about your growth, your expansion, and your investment here in South Dakota. The number 3 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is our values. South Dakota embodies the values that make America special. People visit here and they think, this is the way that America is supposed to be. I recently had the opportunity to meet with Rabbi Mendel Alperowitz, South Dakota's only rabbi. And he talked to me about how the traditional morals in this country are leaving and eroding. Anti-Semitic hatred continues to rise in too many other states and too many other places. In South Dakota, we addressed that last year here in this legislative body. We defined anti-Semitic discrimination so that we can identify it when it occurs and we can stop it. Now, the rabbi and I also discussed how this nation needs to turn back to South Dakota's example to help face this moral decline. We in South Dakota embody the values and the morals that built this nation. Make no mistake, America was built on Judeo-Christian values. This might be a controversial statement for some people, But it wasn't for our founders. Take it from the father of our nation, George Washington. It might surprise you to learn that George Washington did not sign our Declaration of Independence. He was with his troops on the battlefield when the Continental Congress met. John Hancock mailed him a copy, and on July 9th, 5 days after it was signed, General Washington wrote general orders to his men that they all should gather and they should listen as the Declaration was read aloud. These were Washington's words to his troops. The blessing and the protection of heaven are at all times necessary, but especially so in times of public distress and danger. The general hopes and trusts that every officer and man will endeavor to live and to act as becomes a Christian soldier, that defending the dearest rights and liberties of this country. Even in that historic moment, General Washington encouraged his troops to first act as becomes a Christian, then defend our rights and our liberties. 4.5 years ago, we had the tremendous honor of celebrating America's birthday right here in South Dakota. We had the celebration with fireworks at Mount Rushmore. And that mountain honors President Washington and 3 other monumental American leaders. We invited and welcomed President Trump to South Dakota to celebrate with us. And we are the first nation built on the principle that our rights come from God, not government, and that our people have the unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In the coming days, we will once again move forward with planning the return of fireworks to Mount Rushmore for America's birthday. And get ready, America. Our nation's 250th birthday is coming up in 2026, and South Dakota is going to throw the biggest birthday party ever at Mount Rushmore. The number 2 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation is our freedoms. South Dakota has been a shining city on a hill over the past few years. We have proven that freedom works here. And here's what I love most about that fact. We don't have to just talk about freedom. We can look from state to state and compare the results. When COVID came in 2020, South Dakota was the only state that never forced a business or a church to close. I never mandated anything. I trusted our people to use their personal responsibility to make the best decisions for themselves and for their loved ones. We defended the First Amendment, including the freedom of assembly, in ways that no other state did. And later that year, when other states attacked and defunded our law enforcement, South Dakota invited officers to move to our state, and to our state that would respect them when they got here. And several times over the past few years, when other states accepted piles of federal money with strings attached to leftist policies, South Dakota said, no thanks. We've defended our Second Amendment more than any other state. The first bill I signed as governor was constitutional carry. We blocked local governments from using emergencies to seize people's firearms. We strengthened stand your ground laws. I signed an executive order to protect our God-given right to keep and bear arms from being infringed on by financial institutions. And we made South Dakota the first state in America where it will not cost you a penny to exercise your Second Amendment rights. Thomas Jefferson once wrote a letter to James Madison where he said, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Now, the media thought that the decisions we were making in South Dakota were dangerous, but those decisions were right. And in the future, when tough decisions are in front of our state, we will have an easier time making the right choice. We have the courage of our convictions. But freedom is only as good as the people exercising those freedoms, which brings me to the number 1 reason why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation. It is our people. You've heard me recite our state motto many times. Under God, the people rule. And I hope that you will remind each other of what that motto means every single day. Everything that we do is for the people. The everyday South Dakotan does not have a lobbyist in this Capitol. It is the charge of each of the 105 legislators in this chamber to be that voice. Listen to your constituents. Do the work to learn the facts, and then make the best decisions you can as their elected leaders. I want to thank one particular group of fantastic South Dakotans, my family. Several of them are at the back of the room today, and I'd like to say a few words honoring all of them. Now, my mom, Corinne, is here. Mom, you can wave. I won't make you stand. Mom, you spoke life into me, and you made me realize how special I was to God. You taught me that I could do anything, and your love showed me that I was already enough. My son Booker could not be here today. He's across the world telling people about Jesus. But Booker, I am so proud of you, and I'm proud of your example of Christ's love. God has you right where he wants you, and I'm sure we all enjoy all of our time we get to spend with you, but know that Dad and I are so proud. My daughter Kennedy and her husband Tanner couldn't be here because they are having our next grandbaby any day now. Kenners and Tanner, I am amazed that you have already accomplished so much in your young lives. I will be praying for you as you start parenthood, and I know that you will do a great job just like you always do everything. Now, my oldest Cassidy is here with her husband Kyle, and they brought their oldest child, Miss Addie, who's sitting there as well. Hi, Miss Addie. Hi. I am her best friend. Right? Are you my best friend? Yeah, it's true. Now they have two other beautiful babies, Branch and Lenny Lou. For a minute there, they had 3 kids under the age of 3. Actually, they still do. Pretty soon, Miss Addie will be 4. And they are still achieving fantastic things in their career. I don't know how they do all that they do. Cass and Kyle, you have such a bright light around you, and you're such an example to other people. You're raising amazing people and individuals, and it's a wonderful reflection of your love of each other. Thanks for letting me babysit so often, and there is nothing that I love more. Now, last but certainly not least, I want to thank my husband, Brian, for being the best partner through this crazy journey together. When he married me, he thought he was marrying a farmer. But Brian, you've always been there with advice and with support. Thank you for all the adventures, the love, and the years that we are enjoying together. Thank you. I have other family here today. I have my sister Cindy is here. She's the oldest in the family, but she loves it when I say that. No, but she is the sister I always wanted to grow up and be more like. She is an outstanding individual, and in our family, she's the peacemaker. So imagine the burden of being a sister to me and being in politics, but she loves me every day, no matter what, and I'm so grateful for her example and her willingness to raise the rest of us kids along with Dad and Mom. I don't have my older brother Rock here, but I do have my baby brother Rob, who's bigger than all of us. My youngest brother Rob, I tell people quite often, my brother Rock and I may not talk for several weeks, and then we'll have a 4-hour conversation. But Rob calls me almost every day to check on me. And I appreciate that friendship, and when we farmed together every day, we could fight, get over it in 2 minutes, and be back to work and love spending all of our time together. He's here with his beautiful wife, Teresa, and their kids, Ruby, Rosie, and Tian. And I also am blessed with the best in-laws that anybody could ever hope for, Al and Sharon Noem, who are Brian's parents. They accepted me as one of their children, have never treated me any different than any of the rest of their kids, and their unconditional love is an example for all of our families in this great state. Would you please thank them for being here with us today, too? So that's it. My top 10 reasons why South Dakota will continue to be an example to the nation. But before I go, there's one more thing that I wanted to talk to you all about. You probably know that President-elect Trump and President Trump have called on me to serve, if confirmed, as the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. It's a tremendous honor and a great responsibility. The mission of the Department of Homeland Security is to keep the American people safe from the threats to the homeland. Now, the situation at our southern border is nothing short of an invasion. And over the last 4 years, America's border security has been purposely weakened and ignored. Our laws have not been enforced, and this has led to millions and millions of law enforcement encounters with illegal aliens. That doesn't include the millions of gotaways that we're aware of, and it doesn't include the ridiculous number who got in through the CBP One app, and it doesn't include the many thousands who caught a free plane ride into our country courtesy of the federal government. Now, too many of these individuals disappear while they wait for an asylum hearing before ever showing up for a hearing, sometimes years later. As you know, I've taken a stand against this invasion. We've deployed our South Dakota National Guard to our southern border 8 times, and that includes 5 state deployments to support Texas's work to stop the flow of illegal aliens. I went to the border myself several times, and I saw the illegal immigrants infiltrating our country. I saw our National Guard troops enforcing our laws and building a wall. Ladies and gentlemen, leadership has consequences. And we see the consequences of Washington's indecision right here in South Dakota. We've seen activity from cartels and their affiliates in some of our poorest communities, and our states around the rest of the country see it as well. Increased crime, increased drugs, overdose deaths, violence, rape, human trafficking, and murder. Even known terrorists have crossed our border amongst the illegals, and they could be anywhere. The invasion is an existential threat to America, and it threatens our national security and our economy. So the basic question is this: what kind of country do we want to leave to our families? I want to leave them a state and a nation that's even safer and stronger and freer than the one that I grew up in. That leaves me in a position where I may say farewell to all of you in the very near future. But before I do, I want to say a few words about the man who is sitting right beside me. I started this speech and every speech that I have given to this joint legislative session with the words, Lieutenant Governor Roden. Almost 7 years ago, people recommended that I pick a Sioux Falls businessman to be my running mate, but I didn't. I asked a West River rancher to join me on the ride of a lifetime, and Larry Roden stepped up to the plate. He's been more than just a partner in this role. He has been an advisor, a source of wisdom, and this is sometimes even more important, a source of laughter. I chose Larry to run with me because I knew that one day there might be a day like this one. I knew that it would always be possible that I might not be your governor anymore, whether that circumstance was the result of tragedy or opportunity. So I wanted a partner who would lead the state just as I would. I wanted someone who realized that our rights come from God, not from the government, that it is our duty to protect the rights and freedoms of our people. I wanted a friend, and Larry has been a friend since I was first elected to the state legislature almost 20 years ago. So Larry, I have a gift for you. You are next up to bat. And this is a tool that's going to help you do the job. Maybe it'll hold up a little bit better than all those gavels you keep breaking whenever you're up here at this podium. But good. Senators and leaders at your desks, you will find smaller replicas of this bat at your desks. Actually, the senators got the little baseball bats and the House members got baseballs. You will find those today. I hope you all have them. And these are a reminder that all of you are at bat now. Ladies and gentlemen, I trust that you will knock it out of the park because the people have bestowed a trust in you. Under God, the people rule, and our people are worth serving. They are the very best in America. They have been such a blessing and a source of joy to me and to my family. So although I'm saying farewell, please know that I'm not going far. South Dakota has always been my home, and it will always be my home. I will continue to focus on making our people safer, stronger, and freer. And to the people of South Dakota, thank you for the incredible honor of serving as your state representative, as Congresswoman, and now as governor. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you for working with me to accomplish great things. But that's enough of that, and we have to keep looking ahead. Our state and our nation have even better days in front of us, God willing, and the state of our state is strong. With your leadership, it will continue to grow even stronger. So thank you, God bless you. May God continue to bless the great state of South Dakota and the United States of America.